had a new development at Christmas time, something I wasn't expecting to do this soon, but I've decided to work on it. My son purchased me a diesel heater. And this will be something that's great for my wife. My only concern with it was where am I going to mount it? Do I want it sitting outside? Do I want to run long hoses up into the tent? Because you lose a lot of heat if it's really cold out in the length of that hose. So I came up with an idea that maybe I could use the back of the truck. And if you're familiar with my other videos, like if you look at my main video of my overlanding setup, everything I have is removable. So if you look at the back of my truck right now, when it's not overlanding, it's all open. I can actually use it to mount things, do things. This, however, will require, no matter how I've figured it out, what made the most sense for the exhaust was to drill a 1-inch hole back here in the floor and run it straight down above the frame. I've already moved all the wires out of the way, and I hate to drill, but you know, it's like a floor plug in the pan. I can get a 1-inch round insert and plug that hole when I'm not using the heater. When I am using the heater, the exhaust will be able to exit right there. And I built a platform, which you'll get to see me today paint and mount. And so the way I designed this, again, is so that I can remove it really easy. So if you notice up here on the rail, I have that 1 or 2 inch metal beam hanging down, and there's actually space between there and the wall. So I've designed a platform that locks up into there and sets down to keep the heater from being able to fall this way and to keep everything secure. And if you notice, the heater itself will be screwed into the platform. And I'll be able to run my heat vent right up here and around and into the tent. And it's back in that corner since my fridge is usually here. My drawers are here. And that space over there, that whole corner just ends up being, I can put a cooler in there. I can put all sorts of camping gear in there. So that's going to be my plan for today, is to build just a quick shelf that'll fit in there, that will hold the diesel heater. And the diesel heater, I've already worked it out. I'll have 4 wing nuts on it. It'll hold it down to that. And my heater will slide right into that corner above the wheel well, and I'll be able to use it all winter long. Now, the other question I had is what I'm going to do with diesel fuel. It only has, I think, about a 1.5 gallon tank on the little heater. So I added another 1.5 gallon container to this side of my topper, since these are really inexpensive. I think it was about $40 for this and the mount together on Amazon, and it does lock, and it sits solid enough. It ain't gonna rattle or nothing. And I just decided my recovery spikes, also I can use those spikes for holding down tarps or whatever we need to do when we're camping. If we really have a wild wind, I can hold stuff down with those. They used to go vertically, and I've changed them to horizontally, which gave me enough room to put, so that'll give me an extra 1.5 gallons. So then it's a 1 hole. That's all I'm drilling. And I haven't drilled any holes in this bed. Even like this bracket over here is actually just tied into this to keep things from sliding around. Again, everything in my mind should be removable for whatever reason. If I'm a hunter, if I kill an elk and I get this thing covered with blood, I want to be able to take it all out and wash everything out. So everything in here is always removable for me. My design for all this stuff is to use all the space as best as I can and have it organized enough that I can still get in here and use this space, because that's why I have a truck. So I can use this space. In fact, Tuesday, my son needs me to pick up a bunch of stuff at his house and haul it. And so if I had all my overlanding stuff in here, I wouldn't have a truck. I wouldn't have a way to haul it. So that's why I designed this stuff this way, all removable. It takes a little more planning, a little bit of measurements, but we can do it. I'll show you over here. This is the diesel heater that my son bought. It's a Chinese one. As you can see, the exhaust comes straight out of the middle of the bottom. So this is where my wing nuts will be. These are locked in here. Well, I keep two of them kind of loose. These two are locked in tight so that if when I go to line it up, I got a little play on these. I'm about to bed line all of this. So this will go to the floor. This will go across the wheel well, so this will sit on the wheel well. And then this is the section I was telling you about. It's both screwed in here and it's angle braced. This goes up under that lip on the bed. So that'll keep the heater from being able to tip this way because this is super tight. It goes all the way to the bed. I measured it exact. So when you twist it in there, it's pushed up against the bed rail. This is against the fender well, so it can't bounce up and down, and it also keeps it coming to the left. And then my last thing is I'll build a bracket that comes off of here to one of those holes in the back of the bed so that I can just run one screw or whatever through it and keep it from moving this way at all. And that's my plan. I don't have much into this. I worked on it about an hour the other night, and I'll probably work on it an hour today. Hardest part for me will be cutting the hole in the bed of the truck. But I thought about it. It's no different than having a hole for my floor pan in my cab. And I can buy 1-inch rubber plug, round plug, stick it right in there, and it'll be fine. I know, deep breath. I'll paint it so it doesn't rust. But it'll enable me to utilize this to what I think will be the best. And just like that, that's the first coat of bed liner on it. Still wet. Just put it on there. I'll do the bottom after this side's dry. Just in case for whatever reason it gets wet, I want to have some protection on it since it's made out of wood. I'll put a couple of coats of this on it, and the bed liner, it should soak in and do good. Anyhow, that's going to be what the bracket looks like. I'll show you when it's all put in, kind of what I'm thinking and how I think it's going to work, and we'll see if it works. That'll be the next thing. All right, well, there it is. That's the hole. I know, but I have a plug that I can stick in there. But that will enable the exhaust to go right out the bottom of the bed and out to the wheel well. So this is about where it's going to come out. Like you said, it doesn't stick out past fender flares. And that's where it comes through the floor. The heater will sit right on top of it on the bracket, which I'll show you in a minute. It'll all be tight, and that'll be at our exhaust. Okay, this is it on the podium. It's all strapped in. Doesn't move anywhere, doesn't wiggle. Can't fall over this way because it's braced on that side. I can't bounce up because it's braced going up and down. I put a clamp on the back, so it clamps it to the side so it can't fall or rattle that way. Can't slide forward or back. And it's fully removable, so all I have to do is take off the one clamp and take off the fitting on the hose, pull the exhaust hose off, and then this whole thing tips and tilts out, and I can take it out. Probably for the winter, I'll probably leave it in here. We have a lot of four-wheel drive trips coming up, and then you can see the wiring I ran down here. I'll be able to plug it in right there. I'll get some diesel fuel tomorrow, and then I'm going to go ahead and start her up, and I'll let you know what I think. I have yet to sort out the heater hose and where it's going to get up to the tent. I'm also looking at the vents that they make that you can zip into your tent, and then the hose attaches to that. Don't know how well they work. Might make something of my own. I don't know. Just thinking about it. So we got her up and running. You can see that angled vent right there. That's turnable. I'm going to run the hose up and out through that vent up in that corner right up there. I already have a 3-inch hole cut in the topper. So I'm just going to run the pipe around, up and around, and over to that hole. Right now the temperature coming out of there is about 130 degrees coming out of that. If you put your hand in front of it. The exhaust, as you can see, goes through the floor. I wrapped it with some insulation tape, which smoked when I first started it up, but it's drying out now. I also had painted the end of it, so I had a little bit of smoke down here where I painted it. But this is where the vent comes out. Tire is totally cold right here. I have the vent right there blowing directly this way, so it comes right into this space. Even the plastic here it's not cold, that's fairly warm, it's catching some air, it's not hot. That's the exhaust, it comes right through and out. Shock is like ice cold. The heat isn't getting to it. Put your hand right next to the frame. It's cold on either side. There you can see some of that smoke from the paint, because I had shot this with some black paint, which in hindsight I should have realized it was going to just burn up and smoke. But anyhow, that's how it turned out. I'm still waiting for my joint piece. So what I have, this piece here will go into the tent. I'm going to build a board that I can set inside and have this aiming inside. So I'll just have a hose from here up to here into the tent. And then I'll just line it up with the zippers, wherever the zippers are at. This will be lined up, so my outside exposed hose will be about 1 foot to 2 feet long right here, coming out through this hole. I bought a joiner and a cap for it, so I'll be able to run the hose out here and then just keep the hose inside and put the cap on when I'm not using the heater. Anyhow, I'll give you that video when I finally get that piece.